Can you explain where your quickness of movement comes from? If the muscles are trained, performance will improve. For those who believe that, this is content you should definitely watch. Because in reality, the stronger the muscles get, the worse the movement becomes for many athletes. In fact, to truly improve sports performance, there is something far more important than muscle strength. If I increase only muscle strength without knowing this, it may even cause unexpected injuries or a drop in performance. Nevertheless, only a few % of athletes and trainers truly understand this principle. In this video, I will explain, from the perspectives of medicine, physics, and sports science, the mechanism that improves performance and the mechanism that causes injuries, common to all sports, in the clearest way possible. This is the true essence of movement that every athlete and every coach should know. It may sound exaggerated, but I truly believe this knowledge makes a big difference. Whether I have it or not will greatly change the quality of future training. Please watch this video until the end and use it to help raise the level of your performance. How to optimize SSC training. What is more important than muscles? What causes injuries? Weight training drawbacks? Optimize SSC training. Actual SSC training. Misconceptions about warming up. Summary. So, let's get started. First, there is something I want you to think about. In your usual training, at what exact moment are you trying to generate power? When dashing, jumping, or swinging the arms, legs, or equipment. All these sports movements have something in common. That is the use of a momentary stretch and shortening, the so-called rebound force. Whether this rebound can be used effectively has a major impact on performance. And injuries also occur precisely at the moment when the rebound is used. So at that moment, what is happening inside the body, and how should it be trained to improve? What plays an important role here are the tendons and neural control. No matter how much the muscles are trained and enlarged, if the role of tendons and neural control is ignored, performance cannot truly improve. By adopting a new perspective of training the tendons and training neural control, the effectiveness of my training will change dramatically. So why are tendons so important? And what does it actually mean to train neural control? I will explain these points as clearly as possible next. And to avoid any misunderstanding, I want to make it clear that what I explain here is not just my own idea or some personal theory. It is based on facts and principles revealed by many studies, combined with my own insights and 27 years of experience in the field. In this video, I used experiments with physical phenomena, such as rubber and magnetism, to reorganize the ideas into a form that anyone can understand and easily apply in practice. Even though scientific knowledge already exists, in the field each theory is often used only in fragments. The connections between training, stretching, performance improvement, and injury prevention are not well organized. In this video, I aim to connect them all together into one clear line. I am sure many of you will say, so that's why, and feel convinced. From here, through a simple experiment, I will visually and clearly explain the relationship between tendons, muscles, and neural control. First, please watch this experiment. A rubber band is attached to one of the magnets. Since the joint is held only by magnetism, it will come off if pulled strongly. This is an experiment where I use the elasticity of the rubber to launch it upward. When the hand is kept fixed, it goes about this high. And this one is pulled in sync with the moment the rubber is stretched and tries to contract. By adjusting the force and timing of the pull, the elasticity of the rubber can be used to launch it powerfully upward. But if pulled too early, or too strongly, the magnet comes off and I cannot launch the bottom magnet upward. This phenomenon happens in the human body as well. For example, the calf muscles connect from around the knee, through the Achilles tendon to the heel bone. In this experiment, the hand represents the calf muscles, the rubber represents the Achilles tendon, and the bottom magnet represents the heel bone. In the case of a jump, landing is on the toes. The ankle joint bends, and the heel bone lowers. At this moment, the calf muscles are moderately engaged, holding the ankle in place. Therefore, while the muscles hold the upper side pulled upward, the part attached to the bone is pulled downward, and the Achilles tendon in between is stretched strongly. This is the same phenomenon as when the hand is fixed, and the rubber is stretched by the weight of the bottom magnet. And when the tendon is stretched, it naturally tries to contract. Just like rubber, it tries to return to its original length. Furthermore, when the tendon is stretched, it triggers a reflex contraction of the muscle through the nervous system. This is called the stretch reflex. The stretched tendon shortens, and the muscle contracts with it. This creates the spring-like motion seen in jumping. This whole process is called the SSC, stretch shortening cycle. What is important here is the timing of muscle contraction. As seen in this experiment, when I pull up with my hand in sync with the rubber contracting, the magnet bounces higher. But if pulled with the hand too early, if pulled while the rubber is stretched, the magnet comes off. This means a strong pulling force occurred all at once. The magnetic attraction could not withstand that force. The same thing is happening in our body. When the tendon is stretched, and the muscle contracts strongly, a very large tensile stress, a pulling force, is applied to the junction of tendon, muscle, and bone. What happens if this pulling force is too strong? The tendon may tear, the muscle may rupture, or inflammation may occur in the periosteum where the tendon attaches to the bone. That's why, to prevent injuries, two things are important. One is to strengthen the tendons and surrounding tissues. The other is to learn proper muscle output and neural control in sync with tendon contraction timing. When I get injured, people often think, my form is bad. But even with perfect form, if the timing of muscle output is off, I can get injured in an instant. Now, what happens if only so-called muscle training, just weight training, is continued? I will explain. For example, if I weigh 60 kilograms and dash, then cut sharply. It is known that about 400 kilograms of pulling force instantly loads the knee tendon. This way proper load can be placed on the tendon, and both the tendon and neural control can be trained. On the other hand, when squatting slowly with a 120 kilogram barbell, the pulling force on the knee tendon is about 170 to 190 kilogram. If trained properly with movements like sharp directional changes, the tendon can receive a strong stretching stimulus. The tendon will become supple and stronger. It becomes a tissue that is soft yet strong. And by learning the sense of using such rebound, neural control can also be trained, such as adjusting the timing of muscle output. But with slow, so-called weight training, neural control for using rebound cannot be trained, and the tendons become stiff in a static way. It is certainly effective for muscle hypertrophy, and tendons also become stiff and strong. But the tendon flexibility and neural control needed in sports are hardly trained through such methods. In sports movements, the load around the tendons exceeds that of weight training. Nevertheless, if only the muscles are strengthened, the pulling load on the tendons will become even greater. This is like in the experiment, pulling too strongly. As my muscles get stronger, the tendon-bone junction bears a heavier load. Moreover, making the muscles grow too large has its own drawbacks. When muscles grow bigger through weight training, they naturally become heavier as well. For example, in the experiment, what happens if the magnet is made a bit heavier? On the right side is the video with the magnet made slightly heavier. Compared to the lighter one, the rubber can be seen contracting with a delayed timing. In other words, when muscles grow and become heavier, inertia increases, and the rebound timing is physically delayed. If this is not noticed and stronger force is applied with the same timing, it means the rubber is pulled while still stretching. And at the same time, it is pulled too strongly. With tendons stiffened by weight training, their flexibility to properly rebound from impact is reduced. As a result, heavy stress is placed on the tendon junction, and this can lead to injuries. This is the hidden pitfall of weight training, and the greatest risk that is often overlooked. For example, athletes who train hard in the off-season, their bodies grow, and they can lift heavier weights. But if they perform sports movements as before, the tissues around the tendons face the double load I explained earlier. This is why, at the start of the season, poor performance or even injuries may occur. This is especially important when force is generated at high speed, through movement chains, like in a swing motion. To avoid such risks, proper SSC training needs to be performed. However, weight training is not being completely denied. As I explained earlier, weight training increases tendon stiffness and static rigidity. And of course, muscle strength also improves. Through weight training, tendon stiffness can be increased while strength is built. With SSC training, tendons are made flexible and neural control is trained. The balance between the two is what really matters. As a guideline, the balance between rebound-based SSC training and slow weight training is as follows. For beginners or elementary and junior high students, the ratio is about 90 to 95 to 5 to 10, and body weight is enough for weight training. For example, slow squats or push-ups with knees on the ground. These also provide solid benefits. For intermediate athletes or high school students, the ratio is about 80 to 85 to 15 to 20, and once growth in height stops, gradually adding heavier loads can promote greater hypertrophy. For example, single leg squats lowered slowly over 5 seconds, or push-ups with feet elevated, using push-up bars. These can provide sufficiently strong stimulation. If about 2 sets of 10 reps can be done, it is good to start using weights for greater load. However, for performance gains and injury prevention, I believe it is more effective to keep SSC training as the main focus. For advanced athletes, college level and above, the ratio is about 7 to 3, with active weight training. While building more power, SSC training must continue to ensure efficient performance in competition. For example, heavy squats or bench presses done slowly are effective for increasing muscle and tendon stiffness. However, I still believe that focusing more on SSC is easier to apply to sports performance. One recommended method is to perform SSC training right after lifting heavy weights, targeting the same muscles with sport-like movements. Right after heavy weight training, the nervous system is activated, and temporarily, it becomes easier to exert strong force. This is called the PAP effect. It involves neural activation, rise in muscle temperature, and increased calcium sensitivity of the muscles. The timing for maximum effect varies by individual, but it usually peaks within a few to 10 minutes. By doing SSC training at this timing, the stronger force can be linked directly to sport movements, making it very effective. This way I can train strength, tendon stiffness, tendon flexibility, and neural control all in a balanced manner. The balance and methods of such training vary greatly depending on the sport and individual body usage. This is only a guideline, nothing more. But if you want to improve sports performance, weight training should never be the main focus. I want to make clear, what is the training for? And I hope each person finds the training method that fits them best. Now I will explain, what is proper SSC training. In the rubber experiment, when pulled at the right timing as the rubber stretched and contracted, the magnet flew high without coming off. In the same way, muscle output must be matched precisely to the timing when the tendon is stretched and begins to contract. This is the fundamental principle of SSC training, to increase the tendon's own tolerance. Unlike muscles, tendons are very stiff tissues, and they are tissues with very limited blood flow. Therefore, tendons are less likely to be damaged than muscles, but once injured, they are much harder to heal. Therefore, to make tendons strong and flexible, It is important to train repeatedly the cycle of being stretched and returning. This aligns the tendon fibers, making them physically stronger and more flexible. When training muscles, loads strong enough to cause slight damage are used. Then let them recover and become stronger. So high-load training is usually done 2 to 3 times a week, with rest days taken for recovery. But for tendon training, loads that cause even slight damage must not be applied. Without giving tendons damaging high loads, daily repetitive practice is effective. That said, compared to muscles, tendons are very stiff. With slow contractions like in weight training, they hardly stretch. So proper load cannot be applied. That's why movements like jumps or sharp direction changes require the rebound created by inertia. However, care must be taken here. A stronger rebound does not necessarily mean it is better. What matters for tendons is to apply load at the speed and intensity where you can generate force most effectively. There is no clear guideline for this, only a rough sense. That's why personal feeling and rhythm are very important. If not sure personally, a trusted trainer should be asked. They can notice timing shifts or loss of power that may not be seen alone. Your timing was too early just now, or the timing is good, but you're not using power efficiently. Let's reduce the load a bit. They can give me feedback like this. By learning timing and gradually increasing rebound load, tendons will become stronger, thicker, and more flexible. And as tendons get stronger, muscle power can also be expressed faster and with greater force. Now, let's look at another experiment. One rubber band is soft, the other is thick, strong, and stiff. When the same weight is hung, the soft rubber rebounds slowly. But the stiff rubber contracts quickly and returns with greater force. In other words, when the rubber becomes thicker and stiffer, its contraction speed gets faster. This applies directly to tendons as well. The more tendons become strong and flexible, the faster and stronger they can produce rebound force. With continued proper training, the periosteum where tendons attach and the muscle-tendon junction also become stronger. The muscle-tendon junction connects tissues with different stretch rates. So it is physically a part that tears easily. These parts too can be strengthened by applying proper load. In short, as tendon elasticity improves and the junctions grow stronger, movement becomes faster and more powerful than ever before. One thing to be careful about is this: if tendons are not yet developed, movement should not be forced to be too fast. For example, in plyometric training there is coaching like, push off the ground as fast as you can. Indeed, top athletes with strong, thick, and flexible tendons have short ground contact time and can jump high with ease using tendon rebound alone. But athletes with tendons not yet developed cannot do the same. Their ground contact time gets longer and their jump height becomes lower. Seeing that and saying, faster, or, you can't jump because you're slow, is not good coaching. If a fast jump is attempted with weak tendon elasticity, the movement is forced with muscle power before the tendons stretch and return properly. In the rubber experiment, it can also be seen how inefficient this movement is. Here, the rubber is being pulled before it is fully stretched. It cannot jump higher than when done at the proper timing. In the same way, if jumping is done too quickly, the tendons don't get enough stretch stimulus and cannot be trained. An even bigger problem is exerting full power when the tendons are stretched to their maximum. That is the situation shown in this example. The tendon is being stretched, and when an additional pulling force acts on it, an extremely large load is applied. This is an ankle jump with faster muscle output timing. This is an exaggeration, but it looks like landing with the legs extended. The loud sound is proof of the strong impact. And just like in the rubber example, the jump happens before the tendons are stretched enough, so they don't get properly trained. Because the jump occurs before the tendons are stretched enough, they cannot be properly trained. Another reason is that the body's natural defense reactions also cannot be trained properly. This is called the autogenic inhibition reflex, a mechanism that unconsciously limits muscle output, to protect tendons and muscles from damage. The image is like the body automatically applying brakes. In this state, proper stimulus cannot be given to either the tendons or the muscles. This defense reaction also occurs when only the muscles are trained, through weight training, as explained earlier. If the tissues around the tendons stay the same while only muscles grow stronger, then using that strength for quick direction changes or sport movements is very dangerous. That is why the self-inhibition reflex occurs to protect the tendons and muscles. In the end, the muscles and strength gained from weight training are rarely expressed in actual sport movements. And muscles that cannot be used are nothing more than extra weight on the body. Far from improving performance, they actually interfere with movement. Furthermore, the brain and body see unused muscles as unnecessary energy cost. So they promote protein breakdown and cause muscle atrophy. As a result, the muscles built up through weight training in the off-season return to their original state by the time the season begins. Many athletes actually experience this phenomenon. An even bigger problem is when the strength gained from slow weight training can actually be used directly in sport movements. As I explained earlier, the risk of severe injuries like ruptures increases dramatically. That is why it is essential to train the tendon area along with the muscles. And what's important is to train at the speed and load, where force can be expressed most naturally for each individual. Train while feeling the speed and load that let me use rebound effectively. By the way, don't misunderstand. I am not denying weight training. If weight training is performed, enough SSC training must also be done in parallel. When my competition level rises and my movements become refined, and it's time to aim for even higher performance, it is good at that stage to incorporate weight training. And even when weight training is performed, it should always be paired with SSC training. It is important to strengthen the tendon area at the same time. Tendon strength has another important meaning. It helps reduce energy consumption. Muscles use an energy molecule called ATP when they contract. In other words, the more movement there is, the more fuel the muscles consume, and the more they become fatigued. On the other hand, tendons are different. Tendons have elasticity like rubber. When stretched, they naturally return to their original shape. This rebound force uses no energy at all. In other words, tendons are an energy-saving device that returns force for free, being energy-saving yet producing explosive power. This is the greatest benefit of SSC in sports. For example, many top golfers say, "You don't need strength," or "Just swing with relaxed muscles." And yet they hit the ball an incredible distance. Of course, it doesn't mean they aren't using strength at all. But because the power comes not only from muscles but also from tendons that use no energy, they feel like they are not using strength. For example, in an efficient swing, the power ratio can be about 40% from muscles and 60% from tendons. Let's take an example to show how big the difference is between athletes who use tendon power well and those who rely only on muscle. Athlete A has very strong muscles and can bench press 150 kg. But he cannot use tendons well and swings mainly with muscle. On the other hand, athlete B can only bench press about 70 kg. But he uses tendon rebound well and swings with good rhythm. When comparing the total output of these two swings, the distance may show little difference, or athlete B may even hit farther. With regular weight training, muscles grow larger and strength increases. But energy consumption also rises, making fatigue come faster, and the coordination using tendons may be lost. That is exactly as I have explained. To develop smooth yet powerful movements without wasted effort, tendon strength plays a crucial role. The key in SSC training is learning neural control to match rebound. muscle output timing must be aligned with the tendon's stretch and return. For example, think about arm swing motions like a volleyball spike or a baseball pitch. When the arm swings and the palm moves behind, the trunk moves forward, but inertia leaves the arm behind. As a result, the internal rotator tendons of the shoulder are stretched. And SSC means contracting the internal rotator muscles, in sync with the timing when the internal rotator tendons contract. Normally, the stretch reflex is a muscle contraction that occurs unconsciously when the tendon is stretched. By adding conscious muscle force on top of that unconscious contraction, much greater power can be generated. But if my conscious muscle output comes too early, it's like in the magnet experiment when the magnet came off. A very strong load is placed on the tendon area. If my muscle output timing is late, it also leads to reduced performance and injuries. For example, when running and trying to stop like this. If proper force is not applied, at the critical moment, the knee may become unstable. Then heavy load is placed on one part, causing muscle strain. Or stress on the joint causing ligament injury. For this reason as well, training neural control is very important. Muscle output timing should be neither too early nor too late. To match the correct timing, it is essential to do SSC training. Now I will explain while introducing actual SSC training. This is SSC training effective for volleyball spikes and baseball pitching. This time I am using a 500G plyo ball. The movement from external to internal rotation is not done by arm strength. By holding the arm moderately and rocking the trunk. The shoulder externally rotates, using the ball's inertia. And the stretched muscle tendon is simply contracting naturally, like a rubber band returning. This is the natural speed of my muscle tendons returning. By adding conscious muscle force, at this timing, the arm can be accelerated even more. If the arm is stiffened and strong muscle output is used, a harder throw can be achieved. But this does not train tendons to be strong and flexible nor improve neural control. It is important that tendons are fully stretched and stimulated to contract naturally. And by matching conscious muscle output to that natural contraction timing, neural control can be trained. By the way, I don't usually do this training. My neural control is not great, so I often fail at timing muscle output. If my conscious muscle output is late, I cannot throw strongly at all. And if I exert muscle force even a moment too early, I feel pain or discomfort from my side to the shoulder. I actually felt pain 3 or 4 times during this filming. The more strong force is applied, the easier it is for the timing to slip. It looks simple, but it is a very deep training. Such neural control is learned more effectively by practicing various things randomly than by focusing on one movement. Training should use movements that match sport actions, performed in many ways and at various intensities. For example, even with the same exercise, using plyo balls of different weights can train subtle neural control. This one is performed with a 500 grams plyo ball, while this one is performed with a 130 grams plyo ball. With a heavier ball, the inertia increases, so the natural return timing becomes slower. On the other hand, with a lighter ball, the inertia decreases, so the natural return timing becomes faster. This is not because I am consciously increasing speed. The speed changes physically as the tendons stretch and recoil. In this way, by changing the weight, it creates situations where the rebound timing differs. By feeling those differences with the body, the movements are adapted flexibly. Let me give another example to help deepen the understanding. This is an SSC training exercise for the golf swing. This exercise mainly trains the SSC of the left arm, and here a 500 grams plyo ball is used. Hold the plyo ball in the left hand and lightly support the left wrist with the right hand. Move the arm as if making a backswing, and while the ball's inertia is still moving upward. Initiate left rotation from the lower body to perform the body turn. This allows the muscle tendon unit from the left side of the abdomen to the back to be stretched. If the backswing is too slow, the rebound cannot be used effectively. It is better to perform the backswing with a certain amount of speed. Immediately after being stretched, as the rebound naturally brings the left arm down. Add muscle force at that timing to throw the ball down into the floor. Immediately after being stretched, as the rebound naturally brings the left arm down, add muscle force at that timing to throw the ball down into the floor. Do not reverse the motion with arm strength. Instead, match the natural rebound timing. The image should be of applying muscle force only at the very end. This is a bad example. If the arm and lower body move together, the tendons connected to the left arm cannot be stretched. While the plyo ball and arm still carry the backswing inertia, start the lower body. This creates a pulling force that stretches the tendons. Can you see how this applies the same principle as the SSC training used in the throwing motion? Hold the arm moderately, use the whole body movement to create inertia, and stretch the tendons through that motion. In this training as well, changing the weight alters the timing of the transition. No matter what weight is used, always focus on moving at a rebound speed that feels comfortable and natural. For example, when using a 500 grams ball, if the movement speed is increased, the arm cannot withstand the momentum, causing it to collapse and the form to break down. In some cases, this may even result in injury to the muscle tendon unit. For me, this is about the speed that allows a smooth and comfortable transition. What matters here is not comparing yourself with others, but valuing your own sense and feeling. Even with same ball weight, optimal speed varies by muscle tendon strength. Basically, just like in physics, the lighter the ball, the faster it moves, and the heavier it is, the slower it becomes. And for athletes whose tendons are still underdeveloped, the tendons are softer, so the rebound becomes slower. As the tendons are trained and become stiffer, the motion becomes faster. Also, when tendons are still undeveloped, the self-inhibition reflex is more likely to occur, to prevent injury under heavy loads. Therefore, training with heavy resistance becomes counterproductive. On the other hand, as tendons become stronger, even when training with heavier loads, it becomes possible to utilize SSC effectively. SSC is not a technique for exerting more force, but rather, a technique for rebounding while using as little force as possible. Unlike conventional weight training, there is no need to push to the limit with heavy loads. In fact, doing so can even be counterproductive. Feel the speed that allows the most efficient and powerful rebound. Gradually increase the load while training carefully and with control. The word warming up originally means to warm the body. Therefore, many people believe that, as long as body temperature rises, the preparation is complete. It is true that higher body temperature makes muscles work more easily. But the strength of tendons and ligaments hardly changes even if the body warms up. If tendon strength remains the same but muscle strength increases due to higher body temperature, the tendons would actually become more prone to rupture. In other words, the idea that a higher body temperature prevents injury is logically flawed. Then why are we more likely to get injured when we are not properly prepared? The reason, as I have explained, lies in the misalignment of neural control. If the timing of muscle output shifts even slightly, excessive stress is placed on the tendons and muscles, which can lead to serious injuries like muscle strain or tendon rupture. That is why the true purpose of warming up is not just to raise body temperature, but to optimize neural control. When people think of warm-up exercises, many probably picture stretching the Achilles tendon. In fact, even this exercise can have very different effects depending on how it is performed. Stretching while keeping the leg back and holding still like this is called static stretching. In static stretching like this, muscles may be stretched, but tendons hardly stretch at all. As I have explained, tendons are very stiff, so this level of stretching is not enough to lengthen them. Therefore, this does not prepare the body for the SSC sensation of stretching the tendon and matching muscle output to the tendon's recoil timing. It can even temporarily make it harder to produce force. On the other hand, stretching while moving and using rebound like this is called dynamic stretching. By using rebound, the tendons are stretched, and muscle output is applied, in sync with their recoil timing. This directly activates the SSC. It is also important in warm-ups to gradually increase the intensity of movement. Start with light movements and gradually increase speed and intensity. By adding a few near maximum efforts at the end, the nervous system is test run and begins operating with game-ready timing. Since full effort is required in the actual performance, experiencing full exertion beforehand is a very important point. By moving lightly and gradually increasing intensity up to near full effort, the SSC is activated and body temperature rises naturally. In other words, raising body temperature is the result, not the goal. The true purpose of warm-up is to tune neural control and activate the SSC. This allows the body to prevent injuries and reach a state where it can perform at maximum power. What's more important than muscle? For performance improvement, not only muscle strength but also tendon rebound force and neural control are essential. What causes injuries? A mismatch between tendon stretch timing and muscle output places heavy stress on joints and attachment points. What are the downsides of strength training? When only muscle strength increases, the balance with the tendons is lost, and timing physically slows down, leading to injuries and reduced performance. Optimizing SSC training. Training tendon resilience and muscle output to match rebound timing is the key to improving speed and power. Actual SSC training. Exert muscle force at the timing when the tendon naturally recoils. It is best to vary the load and timing while performing movements close to actual sport actions. What are the misconceptions about warm-ups? Static stretching does not activate the SSC. Dynamic stretching is essential for reproducing the SSC. Raising body temperature is only a supplement. The essence lies in preparing the nervous system. By replicating full effort and neural control as in actual performance, it becomes a true warm-up. I have many years of experience working with athletes as an osteopath and trainer. Among them, I have seen many athletes who trained hard with weights in winter, only to get injured right when they tried to return to their sport, and others who got hurt just as the season was about to begin. I myself also experienced serious injuries twice during my peak years. In high school, my second and third year, bad enough to need crutches. That's why I understand deeply the frustration and regret that come with such injuries. But I believe these problems can surely be reduced if accurate knowledge about muscles, tendons, and neural control becomes more widespread. I hope this video helps you improve your athletic performance and prevent injuries, even just a little. I wish you the best of luck in your training.